I wanted to speak about the art of contemplation and how we can use it in a very simple way for shadow work in actually everyday life. So, The Art of Contemplation is Richard's new book, and it talks about the process of pausing, pivoting, and merging. And I've been speaking about this in the 24th gene key when it comes to patterns of addiction. So what I was saying then, I think, is that when we get triggered, consciously or unconsciously, we tend to go into a certain pattern. So, for example, if you are emotionally triggered, you might go to the fridge and eat something in order to feel calmer. And what you can do when you if you pause before taking that out, there might be a possibility for doing something different. Or if you are anorectic, and what you do when you go into when you get triggered, maybe it is that you don't allow yourself to eat. So it really doesn't matter what the pattern is. What happens is that when we feel triggered, if we can pause first before we act, that opens a door for something new. And like Richard was saying during the ambassador retreat, actually, it's actually just about pausing. The rest kind of happens by itself. So in that pause, in that contemplation, in that moment where we don't just act in an unconscious way, there is space for something new. And I had an experience not long ago. So to make a long story short, I ended up in a horror movie. And I've never been in the movies for a horror movie in my whole life, because I knew that that's not something that is going to feed me with anything constructive. And so there I am, and I'm just realizing that you can say that this is just a movie, and you can tell your mind that this is just a movie, but in the new kind of cinemas that we have today, there is like sound coming from behind and from the sides, and it's everything to like trigger this instinctive system in us. So it is there to scare you, and actually the mind doesn't know if it's real or unreal. It doesn't matter that you tell yourself that it's a movie. So I stayed for almost an hour, I think, and then I was like, no, I don't have to. It doesn't matter that I'm here with friends. It doesn't matter why I'm here. I can just go outside. So I did. And then the next morning, as I was waking up, I could feel what I would call a panic attack. And I haven't really had panic attacks like in daily life, so I can't really say how it is. But what happened to me was that I could feel my heart like racing to, like, I don't know how many beats per minute. And I could feel like a horrible feeling in my in my chest, like constriction and almost not being able to breathe. And I could feel how, like, on my like temples and like my thighs, I started to like feel cold sweat. And I still had my eyes closed because I was just waking up. And it was something that told me that, if I would just like concentrate on my breathing and just kind of watch it, then I would be okay. As long as I could breathe, I knew I was going to be okay. So what I would call is that I became the neutral witness of what was going on. Or the compassionate witness. I could go to a place inside myself where I still was safe enough to just watch what was going on without having to do anything. And that is the pausing, that is the art of contemplation. And it doesn't matter if your eyes are closed. It doesn't matter if your body is doing crazy things. You're still there, present with what is going on, with what is happening. And after a little while, there was even a curiosity. I'm a Scorpio moon. So there's even this curiosity to go a little bit deeper into that anxiety, to be like, kind of the Scorpio that has to die to something new. And knowing that my physiological functions were okay, even if my body was freaking out, I was still breathing. And to anchor myself in that breath and go a little bit more deep into the anxiety, And by then I was quite awake, so I kind of knew that this is not like, knowing that nothing stays forever. This is not my reality long term. This is an experience that I'm going through. That made me curious to go into it fully, um, and see what could be there. Kind of this feeling that sometimes it's just about feeling fully. It doesn't matter actually if it's good or bad. And also what Richard was saying this week in the video, trust, just trust whatever the experience is, and go into it. Allow it, or more than anything, allow it to happen, because when you go into it, of course, you tend to react with it. um, I just felt that this was an example of how, even when something is really scary, and even when it's triggered by outside circumstances, it's possible to pause and pivot and make the whole experience something else than what it could have been. And actually, by merging with the experience, by wanting to go a little bit deeper, by taking on that Scorpio courage to be like, let's just go deep. Actually, the whole thing is something that I'm sitting here and talking to you about on a video. So it just shows me that the art of contemplation can be used every moment of our lives, and when we least like expect it to bring us something new, it still can. um, and yeah, I would love to hear your comments on this. And I don't know if it made sense to you or not. I didn't prepare how it was going to come out. So please let me know if it makes sense to you, or if you have similar experiences to this one. Thank you, guys.